me start here. I'm a Bruno Mars fan, but I'm like grown woman about it. Not the front row seat screaming since 2010, knows every interview fan. I'm not that one. More like he's been on my bucket list for years and I finally got good seats. That kind of fan. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Stephanie Oden, and I help introvert entrepreneurs build online businesses. He got close to me. He was performing in Michigan, which is only about 4 hours from me. So I showed up and I left knowing without a single doubt Bruno owes me nothing. Came home with a hat, a weak voice, and not kidding, a business lesson. Okay, stick with me. I know how that sounds. Just stick with me, okay? We're not shy, we're not timid, we're not needing to be fixed. We're an introvert, and that is our superpower. Somewhere between treasure and just the way you are, I looked around at over 40,000 people who had paid real money to be in that room, people who didn't want to leave, who were singing every word back at the stage. And I thought, this is what we're trying to build. Not the arena, not the lights, not the pyrotechnics, but the connection underneath all of it. So today I want to talk about what the concert revealed to me. Yes, I got my hat, my pens. Yes, I got the experience, but he taught some other lessons about branding and presence and storytelling and energy and share some tips on why introvert entrepreneurs might actually understand this better than anybody else. Because once you start building a business, and as I started coaching leaders and I study people, stop just watching experiences. Yes, I'm present and I'm in the moment and I'm studying what moves people. And this concert moved people. Not just emotionally, but energetically. Like you could feel the energy from the start of the concert to the end of the concert. Like you could feel it. And I think it's important because most entrepreneurs are trying to build something that works. I mean, we're so focused on what works while we completely miss the part that makes people really want to care. That's what concerts understand better than most businesses. They don't buy access, just access. They buy the energy, they buy the emotion, they buy the memory, they buy the belonging, they buy that feeling. And the merch table proved this. The most expensive item at the merch table was a $125 hoodie. Not a meet and greet, not a signed guitar, not a backstage pass, a hoodie. And it sold out. Now, logically, that sounds ridiculous. Emotionally, perfect sense. Was not even surprised. Because what people were buying wasn't the fabric, they were buying, I was there. I experienced this. This moment mattered to me. I'm all in. That hoodie became proof of connection. And I think this is where a lot of entrepreneurs undervalue what they actually offers. Here's the thing. If your business only feels transactional, people are going to compare prices. But when your business starts to create identity and belonging and safety and confidence and there's clarity and there's transformation, people experience value differently. That's really important for introvert entrepreneurs because many of us underprice ourselves trying to sound reasonable and then we gyrate trying to help people understand. Meanwhile, people are spending $125 on a hoodie that's tied to a meaningful experience without blinking. Why? Because emotion changes value perception. And honestly, when I look at the quiet impact method, it's never really been about information. It's about identity. It's about safety. It's about belonging. It's about momentum. It's about peace. And that's one of the things that matters when it comes to community. People want to feel connected to something that reflects who they are becoming. And that applies on an online business as well. It's that connection to you. They want to feel connected to something that reflects who they are becoming, not just something they consume. Another thing that hit me at the concert, Bruno didn't just play the newest songs. He played old songs, newer songs. He played hits. He played deeper songs. And he wove them all together like they all belonged in the same story because they do. And I immediately thought, wow, this is what people need to hear about our lives. Not that you break down into tears every time somebody talks about your past, but your old chapters, they're not disqualifications. My years in corporate, not disqualification. Your years in corporate, not a disqualification. You working part time, not a disqualification. You building your business in your hours that you have available, not a disqualification. A launch that didn't work, not a disqualification. Awkward beginnings, not a disqualification. The season where you had no idea what you're doing, and that might still be this season. This is not the stuff that erases your brand. This is that connective tissue. This is the part that makes people trust you. Because polished perfection is impressive for about the first 30 seconds. But being human, and I say this a lot, being human, that's what builds resonance. People want to connect the whole story. They want to go with you on the journey, not just the highlights. We can get highlights anytime, but they want that connection. And I think introverts struggle here because we often feel like we need to emerge fully formed and blossom before we allow ourselves to be visible. But the audience doesn't connect because they never see us struggle. They've never heard really or seen us or felt the pain of us in a struggle. They connect because they know you had a struggle when you allowed them to see that. That's the bridge. Then there's this moment that honestly fascinated me. He stopped talking and he just sang. He laughed, he played around, he looked genuinely happy to be there. And the crowd lost their minds. Not because he said anything revolutionary, but because he was present. Real presence is powerful. Not performance, presence. There's a difference. I think a lot of online business owners accidentally build, that the performance based business, thinking always on, always optimize, almost, and I'm guilty. I'm absolutely guilty. In my early podcast, you would not have seen me come on here with a hat. Okay? Never ever. And then a hat with pins on it, mind you. I was one to always sound polished, impressive, successful, motivational, but I didn't really start to get the views until I started showing up more with flaws, taking people on the journey because people are starving for the sincerity. They want a real moment, a grounded moment, a direct connection. And that's why some of my simplest posts often outperform my most strategic ones. The ones where I talk about the fact that the postman must obviously be on my husband's schedule because packages get delivered. I have a home office, but it seems like the packages get delivered right before he gets home. You know what that means, right? I can't hide anything and say, "Oh, I've had this for years." But here's the thing, being real, and I feel better being who I am because people know you're getting Stephanie. People can feel when I'm actually here, when I'm being real. You don't have to become louder to become impactful. You have you you just have to be you. That's what holds the room. And one thing concerts understand incredibly well is pacing. There's high energy moments, there's slower moments, there's nostalgic moments, and there's big emotional moments when the car rolls out on the stage. It wasn't nonstop intensity. And I think this is something else that entrepreneurs need to hear really badly. You cannot sustain constant performance energy. Even concerts build recovery into the experience. One particular part of the concert, one of his songs is Versace on the Floor, and he had a saxophone player playing the verse of that while he went off stage and made a costume change. But it was the sax, and that was it in that moment, and it calmed things down. People were singing the words too, but it provided that shift and made it an emotional moment. You cannot sustain constant performance energy. There's going to be transitions, there's going to be pauses, there needs to be breathing room. And it's a misconception because online, listen, you don't have to produce content every 5 seconds. But there's some people, some circles, some trainings that they act like if you're not producing content every 5 seconds, something is wrong. No, rhythm matters more than pressure. Sustained visibility is going to be emotional exhaustion every time because that comes across. I rather create content that matters and hits and lands that's people want to lean into, not fake hype, not manufactured enthusiasm, but genuine enjoyment that says, hey, I like being on this platform. I like communicating in this community. I enjoy making this content. My message, I wanted to land because it's something that I've really thought about and wanted to share. And I can tell you, Bruno, he looked like, now I get it. He is a performer. I get that. But you can't make up energy that's not there. He looked like he was having the time of his life on the stage. And you could tell that it moved people, that it was electric. And that's what matters. Your energy does matter because nobody wants to buy from somebody who hates their own business. And that's something for you to think about. Like, are you coming on? Are you doom and gloom? Are you feeling forced? Do you not want to be here? People can feel that. They can feel desperation. They can feel that you don't really enjoy or believe in what you're doing and what you're offering, or that you feel desperate or you feel burnout. People can feel when you're in alignment with what you do, when your business actually fits who you are, when it fits your values, when your methods fit your nervous system, when your visibility and your style fit your personality. That's something that people start to trust. That becomes magnetic. Not because you've convinced people, it's because they felt something. That's branding. Not logos, not fonts, not colors, but that coherence where it's fully aligned with the experience of you. And you know what? If they don't get you, that's okay. They're not for you. And one more thing, concerts often remind us that audiences want leadership. They want to see you as the leader. I'm not saying the leader that's bragging rights about 7, 8, 9 figures. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the authentic leadership. Think about this: 48,000 people showing up knowing somebody else was leading the experience. The timing, the direction, the atmosphere, and they relaxed in it. That's what leadership does. Leadership creates safety, not control, not dominance. Like, people trust leaders who create clarity and consistency and emotional steadiness and direction. And what I like about quiet leaders is that often we're exceptionally good at this because we pay attention to the atmosphere. We read the room. We notice pacing and energy and emotion and connecting. We get that. That's not weakness. That is our emotional intelligence. So here's the through line that I came home with. In addition to the hat, a business built on your story, priced with confidence, delivered with genuine presence, backed by joy, structured with sustainability, rooted in connection. That's the kind of business that people return to. Whether they return to you to use the tools that you offer them, or they return to you to help them launch what they're launching. That's the kind that people talk about. That's the kind they remember. That's the kind they recommend. That's the kind they stay connected to. And no, you don't need to build an arena. You just need to be aligned strong enough so that the right people feel it when they encounter you. That's the concert we're building. Until next time, keep building with purpose, with presence, and with peace. Take care.